what do you think about the pulse right now? Anecdotally, it feels like things are kind of moving and shaking. I mean, there's been obviously at the larger company size, there's a lot of consolidation, but we work with a lot of small, mid-sized, private E&P companies, and it just seems like things are kind of happening. People are making deals. That's what I feel like, at least. But what's your thoughts around how
No,
things are today?
I agree. So far, 2024 has been a very active year for us. We're in the market with quite a few quality assets right now. We expect to be launching other processes prior to year end, but it definitely feels like it's a good environment to be getting deals done. The interest rates are getting lower, are dropping and expected to drop some more. So I think that's advantageous to the space. I think there's a lot of, at least in the upstream oil and gas space, I think a lot of different folks, with all that's going on in the macro in the world, geopolitically and whatnot, they expect prices to be higher than they are right now, or expect them to be higher in the future. So there's kind of some optimism on pricing. It seems like the environment to get deals done. I guess I would say there's optimism in the industry and its future. There's kind of a scarcity of potential opportunities. So and then as you mentioned, upstream consolidation has been just massive, and the other side of that dynamic is going to be interesting to see it play out. I think in 2023 there was $190 billion in aggregate transactions in the upstream space, mergers, acquisitions, counting everything, with huge mega deals. This year there's been north of 90 billion with 4 more months to go, 3-4 more months to go in the year. So with that massive consolidation, it's going to be interesting to see what comes out on the other side. If as these companies tie up that have non-core assets, if those are going to be the dispositions that are going to be the starting point for new companies to really get a foothold and to make something off of it. You think about Devon recently bought Grayson Mill. Grayson Mill's an in-cap company, but they bought Equinor's position in the Williston Basin at a really great price, and developed it and had a really great outcome. So as you think about some of these other large, Equinor, prior to being Equinor with Statoil, they bought Brigham out of in the Bakken. So there's kind of these assets. The assets stick around. The companies kind of play some musical chairs sometimes.
It's hilarious if you've been in the industry for long enough. Someone brings up an asset or an operator, and you're like, "Oh, I knew when it was this company who got bought by that company, then they had merger here, and then 5 years, 10 years ago, it was this position, and they drilled these." You kind of like it's almost like a genealogy website. Like you start to see like a package, and you're like, "Oh yeah, I remember when so and so had that, and they were running rigs on it, whatever." But it's how it always goes. It builds up and it consolidates, and then something happens in the macro or in the pricing environment, and people start to rationalize and they start to sell off non-core things. Technology advances, people discover new reserves or a way to extract them better, changing completions, whatever it may be, and then the cycle just repeats. It seems like.